Coming to you today. Want to discuss principles over popularity. So, what do I mean by that? So, normally when I do these live videos, I normally talk about funding, I talk about lending, I talk about real estate. And today I'm going to still talk about those topics, but want to talk about it from a different standpoint. And the standpoint that I want to talk about it from is from a place of realizing where you are in this economic space. So, depending on who you're listening to, who you're tuned into, you have the economic naysayers who say that we're in a recession. And then you have those who are saying a recession is coming forward based on statistics and economic experts and what have you. And the reason why I thought today would be a good topic to talk about principles over popularity is I wanted to relate it to funding and how I help people. So I never want to assume that individuals know who I am. I don't know if this is the first time you watch my video, but my name is Brown-Phillips, and I am not new to this conversation of business credit, real estate, and being able to leverage it to expand your portfolio. So, with that being said, that is why I wanted to talk about this particular topic because we are in a time and place now where, and I've said this a few months ago, and I've said this on other lives, that this is the time now where you're going to see those who are serious versus the ones who are curious. And so I'm going to relate this video in the place of credit and funding. For the past couple of years since 2020, I've been talking about the topic of leveraging credit to invest in real estate, primarily business funding and business credit, since 2008. If you go to my YouTube channel, and I know I'm streaming on a few platforms, but if you go particularly to my YouTube channel, you'll see all the content there. But with that being said, since the pandemic, since 2020, up into about last year, and even now, money has been very fluid. It has been easy to get access to. When it comes to the internet, you have a whole bunch of individuals, gurus, overnight sensations who have led business owners to believe that getting access to money is real easy. All you have to do is rob the bank. All you have to do is run the play. Any type of process that would really take you from um, economic obscurity to economic thriving. So um, there have been individuals who have been selling people on that process that you can literally be a credit millionaire overnight. And ladies and gentlemen, if I can't give you any advice, now is not the time to follow those trends because as you can see, the well has ran dry. um, the government is not giving out a lot of money. There's no PPP. There's no EDIL. A lot of the tactics and the strategies that many people have shared with individuals are not, um, you know, uh, producing um, the it's not producing what they want because you know they have been flagged as it being fraud for the banks. So many people have said, what do I do next? And that's why, and I have conversations with people every day, and I talk to many people, and a lot of people have said, Lorelia, I've tried this and I've tried that, and I can't seem to be able to crack, that $250,000 in funding that everybody talks about online. And so that's why I said principles over popularity, because this is what I tell my clients. Financial stewardship is important, and it is the base foundation of you getting any type of financing that you want in your business, in your personal life, or what have you. But understand, Financial stewardship is not popular. Most people don't want to grow into being a financial steward. And this is what I tell people, but those are principles. Principles are principles, whether you agree with it or not, but they are principles. And even if you find a way to skip over the principles, which had happened a few years ago when money was fluid, when people was just getting access to large amounts of money up into the millions. What ends up happening? The bottom falls out. And that's why I tell people, stick to the principle, especially in this, in the economic landscape of where we are at. Play the long game. Although it's not pretty, and although it takes time, but there's a book I always like to refer to, and it's a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And he talks about throughout the book how the little things can snowball into your big win. And that is why I tell clients, and I even share this with individuals that I may just have a small conversation with as a consultation. Start small, work yourself, into getting large amounts of funding. Because this is what I tell people. If you have a so-called business, and normally what people think of business is an LLC and an EIN number. And then they give themselves the badge of, I'm a business owner. Okay, okay, I get it. You've paid the Secretary of State, you got your LLC or your corporation or whatever. You've given yourself the badge of, I'm a business owner. But what you haven't quite figured out is how to generate a dollar into your business. So, what happens with the economic naysayers, those who are looking around on the internet for free money, my advice to them, I have a lot of conversations with people, and the advice stands true. The amount of time that you are spending on the internet looking for free money, trying to crack that nut on how you're going to get $100,000, $250,000 on grants, on free funding, you could be spending that time in your business and trying to get a customer or trying to get a client or trying to get a contract. Whatever it is that you're doing, you can spend that time doing that. But most people want to be able to they want to chase popularity, because what they have seen, and it's primarily the online space, is some guru or some expert tells you that if you just do these three things, get an LLC, a free EIN, some net 30s, the financial gates of money and funding and financing and wealth will just spill right on you. And I always tell people, if you believe that, I'm going to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge too, because it just doesn't happen like that. And I tell people, usually the first question, the qualifying question I always ask people, how much money did your business generate? And normally individuals say, oh, that's when they start heeing and hawing. Well, I haven't quite, earned any money. I'm a startup, whatever the case may be. This is not to make a mockery of no one, because these are the common, characteristics and conversations that I have. And then you ask them, they he and haw on how much money they make. And some will just be honest and say, I ain't made nothing, zilch, zero. Then you ask the question of, okay, well, how much financing and funding are you looking for? They can give you a number on that. Oh, I'm looking for 150. I'm looking for a quarter million. I'm looking for $500,000. And I said, make it make sense. Make it make sense. You've earned no money in your business, none at all. Can't even figure out how to generate a dollar. But you want some lender out there to take a chance on you and give you $100,000. Oh, well, you see, Lorelia, once I get the funding, then I can be able to do the business. And I tell people, because at that point, I don't need to say, help me make sense with that. You know, you can't make sense of it. Because what happens is that if you have not been a good steward of your own finances, and what do I mean by that? You have never had a credit card with a limit of 5,000 or a limit of 10,000 or a limit of 20,000. What makes you've never even built that muscle. You don't even know what it's like to have to pay that amount of debt on your personal. You don't know you know how to you don't even know how to work that muscle. But some way or other, you think that if you get $250,000 or $100,000 in some type of lending source, whether it's in credit cards, line of credit, a term loan or what have you, business or personal, all of a sudden you become a business whiz. You couldn't figure out how to get a customer with no money, but some way or the other, and you never even built the muscle on how to pay back the debt at 5,000, 10,000, 15 or 20. And the list goes on and on and on. But now, when you get this 100K or this 150K, because I always tell people, there's always, an oops and something. There's always, maybe you got a family member who will co-sign, or maybe you have someone who's willing to, do a refi on their house, or whatever the case may be. And you actually get your hands on this amount of money you want. What changes? Nothing. This is where individuals put themselves behind the eight ball. Because what a lot of individuals don't realize is that when you haven't built the muscle or the skill set of managing money, you've never been a good financial steward over you. And this is not to make a mockery of individuals, just understand where you are. You've never managed that amount of money. But some way or the other, you think that if the funding fairy gives you about 150,000, all of a sudden you become a money maverick. And then on top of that, you have never even managed your business because you've never had a customer. So you don't even know what it's like to get a customer with no money. But now all of a sudden, if you get some money, you're going to get a customer. And that's where I do say, make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense. If you haven't figured out how to get a customer with no funding, with no financing, you're not going to magically become this business whiz and figure out how to get a customer. And once again, principles over popularity. This message is not popular. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not a popular message, but it's a message that needs to be said if you really trying to win in this game of running a business and building wealth and investing in real estate, whatever the idea or the vision that you have for yourself and your family, it starts with that. Like I said, principles over popularity. The principles are there because what the individual doesn't understand is they're spinning two plates. They're spinning a plate of, oh boy, I got to manage this money. Because like I said, anything can happen. You can get a credit partner. You can get a family member who will loan you the money. You may get one of them, a family member or a friend to refi their house. And now you come into this 100,000, 150,000. Never built the muscle. So now you spinning the money because you believe that all you needed was the money. The money was going to fix the business. So now you put out all this money thinking that's going to fix the business, but you still don't even know how to bring no revenue into the business because now that's the other plate that's spinning, the other plate that's spinning, because now that plate is you need to get some revenue into your business. You need to get some revenue, and you don't know how to get no revenue because you truly believe That if you just, some way or the other, use the rob the bank strategy, the run the play strategy, whatever the expert told you, and you ran it, and you got the money. You've robbed the bank. But now you're stuck behind the eight ball, because now you have to be able to pay that debt off, and that's only if you're following sound financial stewardship. Because most people will tell you, fumble the ball, don't even pay it back. Once again, principles over popularity. The message is not popular. That's why what I share with clients is the principles of financial stewardship and understanding it, and why it will always sustain you. And when you understand that, financing will become your oyster. Because I specialize with helping businesses get funding. Real estate businesses getting funded. That means they have a business, they have revenue coming in. What I don't specialize in is helping people commit fraud. Once again, that message isn't popular, because most people want to tell you that all you need, the three things: a LLC, a EIN, get some net 30s. The funding gods are going to just shower you with money, and then magically you'll wake up with $1 million business. And it doesn't work like that. And see, when you decide to take the principle approach is, let me understand how this works. Because I tell people, instead of you trying to figure out how to get some money, figure out how to get a client, figure out how to get a customer, figure out how to get a contract, whatever in your business that you do that brings in some type of income and revenue, focus on that. Once again, that message isn't popular, because it's easy to sell someone a free EIN, an LLC, and get some net 30s, and you're gonna, the funding gods are just gonna pour money over you. That's a popular statement. But I always like to lean on principles, because see, principles are gonna sustain you. And it doesn't matter what the economic situation is going on in the marketplace. Because understand this, I don't care what you're selling, I don't care what area of real estate you're in, there are all types of people. All types of people. People are still buying. And I get it. Some people, they know a group of individuals who have contracted. They're holding on to whatever they have real tight. And if you understand, once again, principles and how money circulates, it being a current, you can't hold things real tight and expect new things to come in. But once again, depending on the economic conversations that you're around, you will fall into that mindset. So that's why I always say the principles of understanding financing will always trump things that people want to hear that is popular at the current time. Mark my word, in the next 5 years, once again, I'm a student of this information. Banks are changing with AI. There's a lot of things that they are doing to streamline the process with lending out money. You're not that smart. I tell people, there's no guru and no expert that is going to outsmart banks that make billions, maybe even trillions of dollars, is spending billions on AI. You're and this human that's on YouTube or whatever on social media is going to be able to trick that system. It's not going to happen. So once again, it's popular. We saw that in 2020. People really believed that they were going to run a play, get a whole bunch of money, and now with almost 4 years in, a lot of people, what's happening? They're going to jail. They're getting locked up, because once again, it's fraud. It's fraud. Like I tell people, A fraud, individuals who are promising you that you can have literally a shell of a business, nothing, just a free EIN, LLC, and somewhere or other you're going to get $250,000. Anything that is being shared or the strategy, it's fraud. You're falsifying documents, you're falsifying information you put in a computer, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it may be popular. People always say to me, "Oh, really? The information," and these are the economic naysayers. Those who just don't see no value in what I share because I don't teach people how to commit fraud. I don't do that. I'm honest with people. No, if you have a business that with no revenue, I'm not your person. Like like I can't magically get you no money. Like if you're honest with me to say, Lorelia, I asked the question, how much money does your business make? Zero. How much do you projected to make next year? You don't know. We can't have a funding conversation. What are we going to talk about? So I'm just going to just leave it with that. I know this is not going to be a popular conversation, but it needs to be said because there are going to be a lot of opportunities. Like I said, depending on what you're tuned into, who you're tuned into, are you going to be able to take advantage of those opportunities? But if you follow what's popular and following what's popular can land yourself behind bars, you want to be careful. Really want to be careful. Principles over popularity. Never can go wrong with principles. So once again, this is Lorelia. To learn more about me, I will be doing a live class workshop coming up soon. You can learn more about that if you go to www.neverloseadeal.com. It'll put you on my email communication list where you can learn more. Also tune into my podcast, Never Lose a Deal podcast.com, and you can tune into the streaming podcast sites to learn more about it. So once again, this is Lorelia. Leave me your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you think. Bye-bye.